Hello, Aldwyn Altuney here, and welcome to Truth Xpose TV. Today, I have a very special guest. Her name is Carolyn Vincent. She is also known as the Connection Ninja. And today, we're going to be talking about how to find your purpose and passion. In fact, the truth about how you can find your purpose and passion. And she comes to us from Brisbane today. Hello and welcome, Carolyn.
Hello, Aldwyn. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. Great to have you with us today.
Yeah, and me too.
Very excited to be chatting with you today because you're a phenomenal woman, very inspiring, and you do a lot for the community, and you're always so passionate and speak from the heart. So I love that about you. So this is a hot topic we're talking about today. How to find your purpose and passion. Now, why does this topic interest you?
I guess from a very young age, Aldwyn, from the time I was 14 back in India, actually when I was around 14, I was quite impacted by the beggars that I saw on the streets as I used to walk to school and then to college, and always asked that question, you know, why all this injustice in the world? And then the bigger questions, why am I here and what's my life about, and all of that. And I never really had anybody to have those conversations with when I was in India. And then I got married and came here to Australia, and they kept kind of haunting me. You know, I got into business, and so I've always had that yearning to find out what my purpose is and what I was passionate about. But I got so involved in my business. You know, you're conditioned by society in a way to get married, have babies, get your job, get your house, get another house, get a boat maybe, and so on and so forth. And you get so caught up in this rut that I would call it, because you're not really taught from the time you're young, hey, go out and find what you're passionate about or discover what it is that you love doing most. You know, we're not taught that. So yeah, I finally am living my passion, and I've been through quite a journey. And so I really believe that if everyone in the world actually discovered what they loved doing and actually did it, we'd have a different world. So I'm very passionate. I'm standing for a world that works. That's why it's my hot topic.
Awesome, awesome. Now, which part of India did you grow up in? And
Mumbai.
Oh, Mumbai! Wow. So that's Mumbai is a very big area, huge population.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And what brought you to Australia?
I got married and came to Australia in 1988. My ex-husband was from here. Well, he was originally from India, and he grew up in the same suburb that I did. And then he came here to Australia, and then he came back to India, and we met, and I came here by marriage.
Oh, wow. So you were here for the expo. That was 88 was year.
I actually just missed well, I did. I was in Sydney. We landed in Sydney, and Brisbane Expo was in Brisbane. So I wasn't here for the expo, but I was here. I was in Sydney.
Ah, okay. Well, that's quite a different culture coming from India to Australia. And, you know, finding your feet here and becoming successful in business. Can you share a little bit about the story of what happened when you came here? How did you adapt to Australian culture, and how did you come to get involved in your business? And let us know a little bit about your business. That'd be awesome.
Well, when I first came to Australia, actually, it was a real contrast to what you grew up in, how you grew up in India. First of all, you grew up in India. I came from a really strong connected neighborhood where kind of everyone knew everyone. There was this real organic web of support. You know, that it was part of a big Catholic community, and we had so many community events on the weekends. You walked on the street and you knew people. I was literally, I could proudly say that I was brought up by a village, because my mom used to work 7 days, not 7 days, but long hours. And my dad was in the army. So my parents were not that much around us as kids, but we had our grandparents, and we had lots of other people in the community, and you could go to people's homes. And yeah, it was, you know, it was very different. I was brought up very differently. And then when I come here to Australia, I remember driving home from the airport, my husband's brother picked us up, and as we're driving back, I'm seeing the streets, and there's like nobody on the streets over here. And in India, there's like hundreds of people walking the streets. And the only time when there isn't anyone on the streets in India is when there's something we call a bandh, which is a strike. So nobody's allowed to walk on the streets. Anyway, so I'm driving home, and I'm saying to my brother-in-law, Jeffrey, I say, hey, Jeff, what's going on? Is there a bandh over here in Australia? And he says, no, there's a bandh here every day in Australia. In other words, it's pretty empty. So that was my initial culture shock that I got and saying, where the hell are the people? You know,
Yeah.
and this silly earphone is getting out of my ears. But anyway, so yeah, so that was the first big culture shock that I had to encounter. And then, you know, we started a business, and you kind of get slowly warm up to it. And I wouldn't say warm up, but you have to get used to it because you're here. I was, you know, married and here, so you had to just deal with whatever it is. And it took me a little while because we were in Sydney a year and a half, where I had a lot of family and friends that I grew up with in India. Some of them had moved to Australia, so there was a lot of people I knew in Sydney. But when I moved to Brisbane, I actually didn't know anyone. So it was that was about within a year and a half of me coming, I moved to Brisbane, and I was on my own pretty much with my husband and my little baby. So yeah, I forgot your question again. What was that? How was it adapting? Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess, and then because we've always been in business just keeps you busy, right? And in Brisbane, I had no support. So I was so busy working in our business, and then we moved from one shop to, we were always in some business or the other. We would buy a business, build it, sell it. And then when we had the luggage and the handbag business, that went for 15 to 20 years, if I sat and counted. But that keeps you busy, and so you just naturally adapt. And then you have kids, and so yeah, it was hard. It wasn't easy because I'm also initially a loner by nature, and people don't believe me when I tell them that. But that's how I survived for 22 years of my marriage, because I manage things on my own. I'm one of those independent creatures. And that's why I'm so passionate about community now, because I know that independent doesn't necessarily work if you really want to have a big life. So
yes, and your business
people
was Luggage Direct Proprietary Limited,
yes,
and you took that from a 3-meter market stall to an $8 million business in 15 years. So how did you do that?
Well, that was together with my husband, not just myself. We were an excellent team, actually, in business. He was a real marketing whiz, and he was very good at buying, and he had the vision. I'm a good people's person. I've done mathematics, so I have got a degree in mathematics, so I was good with the accounts. I'm a numbers person, and I've also merchandising and operations. So we made a really good team. And in my last few years that I worked in business, I worked on the principles of something called conscious capitalism, which has 4 principles. And the number one principle is every business has the ability to have a higher purpose other than making money for its owners and shareholders. And that fired me up. So, I guess that was, we struggled quite a bit we almost went broke in 2000. And then my husband was very clever. He's very good at maneuvering. When we used to import leather handbags originally, Aldwyn, when we started the markets. And then when we got to about 12 stores in about 2002, I think, the leather handbags took a dive. And there were all these new fabric handbags that came, and I don't know whether you remember microfiber bags. And so it wasn't just leather handbag shops that sold handbags. It was your dress shops, your country road, everyone that had clothing had sold accessories of different materials, microfiber bags, canvas bags, straw bags. And so it took away from the leather industry, leather handbag industry. And my husband was very clever, and he introduced luggage to make up for the loss in business in handbags. And then eventually we changed our name from, we were called rat bags, funny enough, because we used to buy leather, we used to import leather handbags from India and sell it direct. So we were importer, retailer, there was no middleman. So we could sell really cheap. So we called ourselves rat bags because we were.
Nice, I like that title.
Yeah. And yeah, so it was quite a struggle. It didn't just come, it wasn't just an uphill, it was up and then it went down, and we almost went broke, and then, changed tracks and went into luggage. And then towards the end, I myself introduced a way of working, which was quite, I believe, evolutionary in a way, because I moved from head to heart with regards to my people. So we changed the culture within our business quite dramatically. And When I look back now, what I did without realizing it was create a sense of community in my workplace. And so it moved from, I remember walking in one day and just saying to them, from today on, I'm not your boss and you're not my employees. We are one big family. And so how would we be relating to each other if we were one big family? Come up with some ideas. And we wrote our own vision statement, and we came up with a whole bunch. And within an 8-month period, the whole culture in our business shifted. And alongside that, my husband was also doing a lot of marketing on billboards and stuff. And so, like I said, we were a great team. And then business, they say that in business, the first, it's like an aeroplane. 70% of the fuel is used in takeoff. So, you struggle in business. And then once you reach the air, a certain altitude, you cruise. So, it wasn't 15 years from zero to hero. It was zero to dive to, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but it was quite a struggle, but we did manage to take it to it's quite a phenomenal business. And then my husband sold it. So,
okay.
Dog here.
Dogs are excited about that.
Yeah. So that's did I answer your question?
Yes. That's awesome. And, that is really how life goes. Life is a bit like the share market, up and down, or the roller coaster of life, as they say in Landmark, which we've both coaster of life. So it is a matter of riding those waves. And when we talk about purpose and passion, often people change their minds when it comes to purpose and passion, don't they? So how did you come to find your purpose and passion?
Okay, so like I said, from the time I was a young girl, I was always on this quest of, what is it that's important for me? And what's going on? Oh, hang on. Aldwyn, go on.
That's all right.
Take her for her
because
walk.
This is live. Anything can happen at any moment. And there's an excitable dog in the background. And I've got excitable crows. You may hear some crows crowing in the background.
Okay, that's good. Well, my dog's gone. I've got people that come here and take her for a dog walk to the dog park. So she's off. So that's one distraction out of the way. Okay. So what were we talking about back again?
Saying, so how did you come to find your purpose and passion? Because people can change their minds on through life.
Yeah, totally. It's taken me a while. So, and I'm still fine tuning it, right? Well, more or less, no, I'm on track. But anyway, so from the time I was young, I was always on this quest, what am I here for? And even though I went into business and I got married and I had kids, and you get so distracted by what society expects you to be in your life, there were many quiet times in my life when I often, like through the busy times of business and family life and all of that, when I had time to myself, and those questions used to keep haunting me again, what am I here for? Why am I here? What's my life about, etc., etc. And it was only after my marriage actually broke down that I was again faced with this big question, why am I here? And I knew that I was going to take some time out. Actually, I made a conscious decision that I was going to take some time out to actually find out what I loved doing. Because for 22 years of my married life, I did what my husband wanted. It was his vision to have X amount of dollars as his, wealth, whatever limit. And so we worked towards that. So it was always what Kevin wanted. It was, I was so oblivious. I didn't even realize, and so when my marriage broke down, I thought, okay, now what? And I knew that I made a conscious decision. I wasn't going to do anything that I didn't love doing. And so I used to ask myself the question, is this good for Carol? Whenever I had to choose something, whether it was even from an everyday to day basis decision, like, do I want to go out dancing or do I want to go out walking? Is this good for Carol? Is this good for Carol? Is this going to help me? I always asked myself, I was honoring myself, which I used to never do before. I honored everybody else, my family, my parents, not so much my parents, they were here back in India, but my husband, my business, my kids, my home, and I forgot me. And that typically that's what we do as women, I think, housewives at least, or wives, or whatever you want to call it. But that's what we do. Women generally do that. And so I was about 45 when my marriage broke down. Was I? Yes, I was. And I decided, no, I'm going to actually discover what I love doing. And I had absolutely no idea at the time, but I had a conviction that I was going to find out. And so I remember my kids telling me, Mom, go and we'll write up a resume for you, because I'd never worked for anyone at that point. Go and find a job. You'll get a great job in sales because you're good at sales and you've had such great business, experience and whatever. And I said, no, I'm going to find what I love doing. I don't love selling. I'm going to discover what I'm passionate about. And I listened to YouTube clips. I did went with professional coaches. I did online courses. I don't know how many of them. And then I finally did an online course called the Passion Test, which really helped me hone in on my top 5 passions. What were the 5 things that were really important for me in my life at that time? And it's a really great course that you can do. And today I'm a facilitator of the work as well. So I run workshops on it because I loved it so much. But you discover what your top 5 passions are, Aldwyn, and you're encouraged to continue to do that every 6 months or so, because your passions change, right? Okay. Until you actually find what your real purpose is. So what I mean by that is sometimes in a person's life, their family might be important at that time, or their kids might be important at that time. And we go through this lovely binary process, which helps you distinguish that. So that's what helped me see what my top 5 passions are. And then, of course, you're a Landmark graduate. In 2013, I did the Landmark Forum. And in 2014, I did completed what's it called?
Self-expression and
leadership program, the whole curriculum. Yes. And you're invited to do a community project as part of that. And I did a community project, and then I got hooked. And I discovered that my passion was building community, because for most of my life, I had let myself get isolated. And the more I talked to people, the more I realized that there was a real need out there for that. And because I had come from community, I, did life on my own for 22 years. And then I do a community project and go out there and have so many conversations. And so I really believe that it's our way forward as a species to come back and really support and connect and be interdependent. We need to teach our kids interdependence, not independence. So that's in a roundabout short way, that's how I discovered what I was passionate about.
Yeah, awesome. And, the point of loneliness, this is really big, I think, in society nowadays, because, 20 to 30% of the population has depression or anxiety. And I think a lot of that has to do with feeling alone.
Correct.
So if you can connect people in their community to realize that they're not alone, and the more that people can find what they love to do and do more of that, the happier people will be.
Absolutely.
And the more people will want to connect too. And I think it's a bit of a danger now with the way technology is, with social media, in some we're connected online, but we're not connected in person. And so it's almost like this virtual world that doesn't feel like a real world, I'm sure, for some people. So that's a big thing, to overcome loneliness and to connect community is huge. So you've done very well with some of these community projects. So can you tell us a little bit about what you first did and what some of your projects you've done?
So my very first project was in Woolloongabba. It was called the Go Gabba Go community building project, and that came out of my self-expression and leadership program at Landmark. I remember I was so scared because I had lived in that neighborhood for 22 years, and all I had done was work and work in our business. 0 to 13 shops and stores in 3 years wasn't a joke. So it was head down, bum up, business, family, home, work, business, family. It was that was, so I never really went out. And if I was lucky, I knew the person in front of me, and it was a wave, and I knew the lady at the side of me who I used to wave out to again from my window. I didn't know anybody in the neighborhood. So to suddenly want to do a community project, and what I decided to do was that I was going to, I wanted to create a neighborhood like the one I grew up with in India, which still is my vision for all my community projects. And so I figured that, okay, if I want to build a strong, connected neighborhood, the first thing I'm going to have to do is go and connect with some neighbors.
Yeah.
And guess what? That was like the most difficult thing to do, because I remember, so as part of the SEL, self-expression and leadership program, you get a coach for 3 months. And I remember I owe her everything. Her name was Cassie. How can I forget her name? Anyway, so yeah, I'm just trying to remember her name. Anyway, so yes, so I remember her being on the phone with me, and she used to say to me, Carolyn, just go out there and knock on the doors, just knock on the first door. And so I had this, this wooden board, and I had these 5 questions on it that I was going to ask all the people, every person, every resident. And I would walk to the front of my driveway, and then I would come back. About 20 times I did that, like literally 20 times. I was so scared to go out and make that first knock. And one day she kind of literally said, go out there, and she was waited with me till I actually went out there to my front step. And then I went out, and then I knocked on the first door. And it was so weird because I was peering through, they had this lattice, on their Queenslanders, and I was peering through, and then they're coming up along the road with their cycle and their dog, and they look at me and they said, excuse me, like I was peering into their house, and they're coming this. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I live up there. And they said, yes, we know. So they must have seen me. Oh. And I said, oh, this is really embarrassing. I'm wanting to do this community project. And I said, I want to build a more connected neighborhood. What do you think? Would you give me 5 minutes of your time? And that was my first conversation. And I remember then on, I went down further and I asked I said, hey, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not even here to change your religion. And they would burst out laughing. I just want to build a more connected neighborhood. And I made myself vulnerable. Mm-hmm. I actually said to them that, I've lived in this neighborhood for 22 years and my marriage has recently broken down and I feel really unsupported. And I'm wanting to build a neighborhood like the one I grew up in India. What do you think? What do you think was a big question. And I had these 5 questions that I would ask them. I had so many coffees and teas, and somebody offered me a steak, and it was just lovely. And in 3 months, Aldwyn, I had 100 conversations. Wow. I knocked on 100 doors, and I had a 98% success rate. It was pretty awesome. 98%. 2 people said no, they wouldn't be interested. Of course, there were some that were more passionate than others, but yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Did you put on a lot of weight in that time? Did they give you Tim Tams and Lamington?
I can't remember, actually. I can't even remember. But what I do remember is that I was on fire. Yeah. I was like so excited because, it was just that first door knock, second door knock. And by the time you get to door knock 4 and 5 and you're getting positive responses, the fear has gone out, And I would go around when it was daylight. I wouldn't go at nighttime or anything. I would go around 5:36 in the evening. I would allocate an hour and a half, and I would do maybe 2 door knocks a day.
Wow, that's awesome. That takes so much courage, Carolyn. I actually used to door knock in Brisbane. Would you believe it? About 20 years ago, I was a door-to-door saleswoman selling movie packages at the time, and I know what it takes. It can be really scary knocking on strangers' doors, and the first thing. It's a Jehovah's Witness or it's,
well, that's why I said, hey, I'm Carolyn. First of all, my house, I lived on that was the highest house in the Gabba, was on a hill. And I had this 20-meter fence and I had splattered it. This is really weird. Splattered it with love hearts and smiley faces. So I would say, hey, I'm Carolyn. I'm the Fruit Loop that lives in that house. And they would burst out laughing. And then I said, I'm not here to sell you anything. And there would be this grin. So it would slowly warm up. And I'm not even here to change your religion. By that time, they were kind of warm to me. And then I made myself vulnerable. So it was a definite, I think that's probably was the recipes to kind of put them at ease first.
Yeah,
I got that after 3 or 4 door knocks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it would have been interesting to see who actually lived in your neighbourhood. Were you shocked by some of the people that you found in your neighbourhood?
I was actually. I met one of the ladies, Katie. Her name was Katie and Greg, and she and her daughter lived in India, in Delhi, and her daughter went to a dance school of my brother's dance school in Delhi.
Wow.
So absurd, because in conversation one day, I remember saying something to her about, my brother's got to dance it. And she said, in Delhi. And I said, what? She said, what's his name? And I said, Ashley. And she said, what? my daughter went to school. So that's how, such a small world, you know, this is like
wow.
way out. Yeah. And yeah, and it was just amazing just having conversations with people. And Aldwyn, I had no idea how I was going to do it, like zero idea of how I was going to do it. But as I door knocked, one guy said to me, so what are you going to do after you know, have all these conversations? Are you going to have a meeting? I said, yeah, I suppose I will, you know, have a community meeting. And he said, well, do you know how to facilitate one? I said, I have no idea. His name was Rob. And he said, would you like some help? I said, you got the job. And so, you know, when you have conversations with people, one of my questions on my questionnaire was, so I had, what do you love about your neighborhood? What, if you had a magic wand, what would you change about your neighborhood? What's one skill that you have that you'd be happy to contribute? And that's where your passion comes in, right? Without getting paid for it. What's one skill you have that you would love to contribute to your neighborhood via? That's generally, they say that, you know, you've found your passion or your purpose when you're willing to do it, even if you didn't get paid for it. That's how you know that that's what your passion or your purpose is. If you're willing to do it without somebody paying you for it, not that you shouldn't be, but if you're willing, if you're so, it's such a thing to your heart, like I'm willing to do community work without being paid for it. I know I will be paid for it someday, as a speaker or whatever, but I would give my heart, I would give time, and I do give endless time towards it, and that's when you know that you found your purpose.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And a question in line with that is, if money wasn't an issue, what would you love to
do? That's right. I used to always say to my kids when they were deciding what they wanted to do with their lives, choose something you absolutely love doing, because if you do that, choose something you absolutely love doing, such that you would do it even if somebody didn't pay you for it, because then you would do it so well that people would love to pay you for it.
Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's great. Another good line is, love what you do and the money will come. Although that, I will put a side note that you still need to invoice people and you still need to make sure that the money comes in, right? So, you know, it's not just... Well,
what I've discovered is that when you have it, like, some people know they like doing certain stuff and they think, how am I going to raise an income out of this? And that's so true. A lot of times, if your passion is to play guitar, your passion is to be a singer, and it's, we've got this preconceived ideas that it's difficult to make money as an artist out there in the world. But the thing is that if you persevere with giving some part of your time and energy towards what you love doing and never lose connection with it, then the universe, or whatever you want to call it out there, somehow recognize that, hey, she's serious. And you get supported people and resources and will come into you in front of you that will help you take that. And so the key is never to lose touch with what you love doing, because the more attention you give it, the bigger it will get in your life. One of the lessons in the passion test is intention, attention, no tension. So intention is, what's your intention? What do you love doing? Attention is put some attention on it. And then no tension is let go of the outcome. So, or an SELP, it's committed, unattached action. Take action, committed action towards what you love doing, and then let go. And let the universe, or let whatever, some other, divine forces out there support you. And they do, and it does happen. Yeah, so... Yeah,
that's beautiful. I love that. So these community projects all started with you door knocking, and then what's happened since then?
So that was in Woolloongabba, and it got to national television, National 9 television on Neighbour Day. It was broadcast, and on the radio and whatever else, ABC and some other radio station, I can't remember. And then I moved to Moorooka 2.5 years ago, and of course I wanted to create a neighborhood. I had the same vision for Moorooka, and so in between that, I had done another course on community building with Brisbane City Council, and I learned a simple trick, and that was, instead of going door knocking, and door knocking is a great way to do it, but it's a harder way to do it. One of the tricks I learned was that to, start connecting with people in your everyday life. So how do you do that? So I used to walk my dog, and when the dogs used to sniff at each other, I would start a conversation with the dog owner. Typically, dogs sniff at each other, and actually the dogs are friendlier than humans, you know. They'd sniff each other, and the humans would kind of look at each other and then say hello, goodbye, and that's it. Well, I used to use that as a excuse to have a conversation with people, and I would introduce myself and say, hey, I'm new to this neighborhood, I live over there, and I'm looking to meet people in the neighborhood. Whereabouts do you live? And then if they would be a little chatty, then I would share, you know, I did this community project in Woolloongabba, and I'd love to do something here. And then somebody told me that we had a Facebook page in Moorooka, so I jumped onto that, and just one thing led to another. And then I shared an idea on the community grapevine. It's called our Moorooka Community Grapevine Facebook page. So I shared an idea there about a community picnics, and they got a lot of conversation. And then I would keep asking people as I had walks with, you know, bump into people. I would talk to everyone, like chat with everyone and share an idea. And that again came from the self-expression and leadership program. You share your ideas, share as much as possible, and, you know, you'll get buy-in. So so since then I've started a few projects over here in Moorooka, and I'm getting more and more engaged in what I love doing, and I've never been so alive in my life as I am now.
That's awesome. And thank goodness for dogs, because if humans went sniffing each other, that'd be a little bit weird. But dogs get away with it, and they tend to go straight for the backsides too of the other dogs, which is interesting. Anyway, side note, dogs do love to sniff other dogs, and dogs do.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, sorry.
Their dogs have that sixth sense.
Yeah,
They know the good dogs from the bad dogs. And
you know, I always, since I guess, why are we humans not so friendly with each other? And one of the things that amazes me is in a lift, there'll be a full lift, lifts that actually chockers, and everybody's looking up at the numbers, at the floors as we are passing the floors. All you got to do is turn around to this person next to you and say hello and have a conversation. And yet, like I said, dogs are friendlier than us humans. So it's I'm on a mission to break that down as well, which is what community is about. Let's get more friendly, let's get more authentic with each other, and have conversations and connect at an authentic, personal, human level. You know, we don't have a problem connecting on Facebook and hiding behind our screens, but so important to connect face to face.
Yeah, well, it's almost like people have social anxiety now. They don't know how to speak to each other almost. They're so busy texting and, you know, on their phones that they've almost forgotten how to communicate. So it's like, you know, back to 101. Let's just build some confidence in speaking with people, you know, rather than just texting and hiding behind a screen.
Absolutely.
So that is awesome. And Mission Litter Pickup. Now, that's a great project that you've started. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so with that one, again, I was walking my dog. I got to thank my dog, I think, for all this. I used to walk her every day on the streets, and I would see litter on the streets, and then I would pick up one or two pieces and go and put it in a bin. And then I would see a ton more, and then I saw if only I had a bag, I'd be able to, you know, pick up a lot more. And I must bring a bag tomorrow. And then I would forget. And then again, the same thing would happen the next day. And this would go on for about a few months. And then one day I decided, no, I'm actually going to put an alarm in my phone. And I did. And the next day I took a bag and a glove and I went on my walk. And I actually filled up the bag. Like within a 15-minute walk, I filled up the bag. Mm-hmm. I was quite surprised myself. Anyway, I came home and I thought I'd sort it because there were some, you know, water bottles, and then there was a whole lot of other bunch. So I thought I'd sort it in what needs to go into the recycling bin. And I tipped it out on the grass, and I thought, oh my God, that's a heck of a lot. And so I took a picture of it, and I decided to post it on our community Facebook page. And I shared all the benefits of what I had done as well. You know, you get extra bending down, downward dog exercises. I felt, you know, a more responsible citizen. I might have inspired somebody else who saw me and whatever else. And it got so much interaction on that one post, Aldwyn. So I decided, I'm a member of a few other suburbs. There's about 7 other suburbs around Moorooka. So I posted it on all their community pages as well. And that got interaction as well. So I thought, here's an idea. Imagine if everybody that went on their walks or dog walks or pram walks just added a bag and a glove to it and picked up litter. We'd have, and posted a picture, that's the key.
Yes.
we would do two things. We would we would do three things, or we would actually do quite a few things. But the two big key takeaways are: A, you get to actually clean up your suburb. B, when you post a picture, you get to spread an awareness of how much litter there is out there. And you'll be surprised how many people are oblivious to that. Oh, Australia is really clean, compared to other, but that's not the point. You don't compare it. The fact that there's litter is there's litter. So you get to spread an awareness that there is litter. And thirdly, you get to inspire others to do the same. So imagine if everybody just added a bag and glove to their already. So I'm not asking people to go out of their way to go and pick up litter. I'm saying just add a bag and a glove to your already existing dog walk, pick up litter, post a picture and hashtag it with Mission Litter Pickup, because the more people that do that, we're going to build. I don't believe that our governments have enough resources or, to be able to clean up around 7 billion people who are littering all the time. So why not use people power? And we're the ones that are littering in the first place. So if 7 billion, not 7 billion, but even if 500 million people start doing it, or 500,000 people start doing it all around the world, and posting pictures and use social media for, it's amazing. Social media can actually leverage a project and leverage this is something that you can, really take to another level, have it go viral. So I got so excited about that. And so I posted, and then I spoke to another guy who took on the social media marketing and set up a website, and it's just going places now. There's so much in the pipeline for it. So, and I got nominated for Brisbane Cleaner Suburbs Award by 5 different people. So and that's going to be announced on the 17th of October.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's brilliant work. And it's also great for the environment, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
You're helping to save species. You're saving the plastic from going into the oceans. And I watched a documentary called Bag It quite a few years ago, and I was so shocked by what I saw on that documentary that the next time I went to the beach, I did exactly what you did. I took a bag and I just picked up all this rubbish. I couldn't believe within a 10-minute walk, I had this massive mound of rubbish that was washed up on the beach, and I did a video of it. And in that Bag It documentary, it says there's been more plastics used in the last 10 years than the previous 100 years. I was absolutely flabbergasted. So I recommend people see that documentary, Bag It, BAGIT. It will absolutely blow you away. And it really is, it's quite disgusting, really, the amount of rubbish out there. And it really doesn't take much to just separate your rubbish, put compost, get responsible around composting, put your recyclables in your recyclable bin, put your normal rubbish in your normal rubbish. It's something I'm very passionate about. And I often go fetching through bins to separate the rubbish, because it annoys the hell out of me that people just are not, a lot of people are not responsible in this area. So people like you, Carolyn, it's fantastic that you're inspiring people to do this and actually get conscious around the litter that we have out there, and let's clean up Australia and clean up our act, I say. So that is awesome.
What I believe I'm doing is just keeping the conversation alive around individual and collective responsibility, Aldwyn. Each of us can and like I said, don't go out of your way, just on your regular walk, create a higher purpose for your walk.
Yes, that's awesome.
The World Economic Forum in 2016 gave out a warning that there would be more plastic than fish in the ocean by 2050 if we didn't clean up our act, if we didn't interrupt what we're doing now. So that's a pretty scary thing, and we derive our food from the ocean. Recently, I posted something on my Facebook page where they found microplastics in salt. We consume salt in everything. There's salt in everything. So it's done a nice round trip. We are chucking plastics in. It's coming back to bite us in the bum. So, and it's contaminate us now. We've contaminated our mother and Earth, and she's going to come contaminating us back again. There is only one of us here, So everything's connected. And I really believe that as an individual, we can really move mountains if we even if you picked up 2 things a day. Even if you had a freezer bag, like a soft, such small freezer bag in your handbag, and you walked on the street and you saw a cigarette butt, or you see something small, pick it up. You don't even need to carry a big bag. You just have a freezer bag. If you're going to the bus stop on your way to work and you see something on the ground, pick it up with your freezer bag, get to work, chuck it in the bin. Every tiny one piece that you pick up, makes a difference. So, yeah, I'm really passionate about it. And I've discovered when I first started this project, Aldwyn, somebody had said to me, and I was posting on my Facebook page over here, a group community page, somebody said to me, Carolyn, what are you doing picking up litter? That's not what you're passionate about. What you're passionate about is building community. And what I got when I thought, I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but one day when I was walking with my dog, what I got was that maybe, just maybe, cleaning up our planet could be a higher common purpose for us to come together again as human beings. When there is a calamity happening out there, when we had the floods here in 2011, people came together and connected with each other and supported each other. But right now we have an environmental crisis on our hands as a species. And, we're coming, what if cleaning up our planet could bring us together again? So Mission Litter Pickup for me is that higher common purpose to bring us together, even as a community. And my next project is having monthly community cleanups followed by a community picnic in Moorooka. And I've already got lots of stakeholders involved, our local MP, local businesses who are going to sponsor the community barbecues. I've got the Roosters Field, the sporting club that's going to give us their premises. Yeah, so lots of people coming on board, and it'll just bring together all members of the community to clean up our community, and straight after that have a community picnic. So both my passions are coming together quite nicely.
Yeah, very nice. And your Imagine Moorooka project won a $10,000 grant from Brisbane City Council as well, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You had a community leadership training program there for more than 20 Moorooka residents that came out of that who wanted to start.
It's in the middle. We're in the middle of that right now.
That's awesome. So that's a great achievement as well. And you've been a public speaker at many different places around Brisbane and around the place. So you are available as a public speaker. Can you just tell us quickly, we need to wrap up soon, but just some of the topics you speak about and then how we can connect with you.
Okay, so I speak on conscious capitalism, which is doing business responsibly. And that's one thing that's very close to my heart because I have an experience of that, of what I did, how I worked in my business in the last couple of years. Higher purpose for business and creating, impacting our the workplace culture. I'm very passionate about authentic connection. So really being open, honest, authentic, and vulnerable with people. I've got all of that training. I owe that to Landmark's education. And I'm very passionate about people finding their purpose and passion, because that I think will really, and building community, of course. But it's all kind of connected, authentic connection, purpose and passion, and building community. Because to build community, to be able to connect with others, you got to first connect with yourself and what's important for you. So, because you can't authentically connect, authentically is the key word. You can't authentically connect with another human being unless you're authentically connected to yourself and what matters for you. So those are my topics, and they all intertwine with each other quite nicely.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I heard a great saying, you cannot give what you do not have. So you have to love yourself to be able to give love. So as an example. That is beautiful, Carolyn. It's been an absolute joy speaking with you. I know you need to run off very soon. So how can people connect with you?
I've got a Facebook page, business Facebook page, which is I haven't done too much on it, but I've got somebody who's going to be managing my social media pretty soon. His name is Mitch. He's the same guy, Mastered Marketing, that's doing my social media for Mission Litter Pickup. Very generous young man. When he's doing it, absolutely complimentary. And I've got a website, carolynmvincent.com, which is also going to be updated quite soon. And yeah.
Facebook page.
And I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Google+. I'm on Twitter. All of that, yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic, Carolyn. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. It's been awesome chatting with you, and we could chat easily for another hour. We will most likely do a part 2 of this at some point. So stay tuned. And for everyone watching, thank you so much for joining us today. Any final words before we wrap up the show, Carolyn?
On the topic of purpose and passion, if there's something you love doing, however small you think it is, or you think it's not going to make money, just give some attention to it. Don't lose touch with what you love doing, because the more attention you put on it, the bigger it's going to get in your life. The universe recognizes, hey, she's serious or he's serious about doing or what she loves doing, and I'm going to support you. And that's what happens. So don't lose touch. Don't, we get so caught up in doing what the world expects of us that we make what we love doing our hobby, and then the hobbies even fall off the radar sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Because you're of lack of time. So I'm saying, find time, schedule it in your calendar to give some attention to what you love doing, whatever that may be. It might be walking your dog. You might become a dog walker for other dogs, other families who, it's true. Some people just love walking people's dogs.
Yeah.
So give some attention to that, and, don't lose touch with what you love doing, because it will be reciprocated by the universe and by people and resources. There's something out there that matches that vibration, I think.
Yes, that's beautiful. And anything is possible. So no matter what area it is that you love, you can actually make money from it.
You can monetize it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So follow your passion and your purpose, and we will definitely create a happier world. And pick up some of that rubbish. Go to Mission Litter Pickup and help create.
Yeah, well, can I just say, I just want to say something really important here, Aldwyn, and that is, everything in this entire universe, everything from the tiniest blade of grass to the stars in the skies have a purpose, including us humans. And everything actually lives its purpose, from the tiny blade of grass to except us humans. We have forgotten individually what we're here for. We have been blinded by materialism. And so we have forgotten what we're here for. I mean, we all have, I say we have a common purpose, and we have an inner purpose and an outer purpose. The inner purpose is to connect to yourself and your own, who you are. And for me, that is love, and everyone is that. And then the outer purpose is what's something you love doing by which you can contribute to your community. And when everyone discovers, human beings discover what their individual outer purpose is, because our inner purpose is common. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The inner purpose is to connect with the core of who you are, which is love. And the outer purpose is individual for everyone. So when you connect with that, and every human being does that and connects to that, and we will have a different world. Because when you love what you're doing, you just unconsciously spread love and inspire others. Your very presence is a contribution. Your very presence becomes a contribution wherever you go, I believe.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Carolyn. And your presence definitely is a contribution to all our viewers today and to me. And I love having you in my life. And thank you so much for joining us again. And
Thank you, Aldwyn. I love your energy. You make me laugh. We've laughed so much together.
We have. Thank you.
You are amazing yourself. So thank you for this opportunity.
You're most welcome. Thank you. And I wish you every success and good luck with the awards. I can't wait to hear what happens there. But the fact that you've been nominated anyway by 5 people, that's absolutely extraordinary. So I know it's onwards and upwards for you, and you've got some great things in the pipeline. So people can connect with you again on carolynnmvincent.com. Is that right?
Yeah. And my Facebook page.
And the Facebook page. Okay, awesome. And Mission Litter Pickup as well.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you for watching, everyone who's on this live or anyone who's watching.
And please like my pages, my business page, as well as, because I'm looking to build my business profile on Facebook.
Okay, so what's the business page title?
Carolyn Vincent. Carolyn M. Vincent.
Carolyn M. Vincent on Facebook. Okay, beautiful. Yes, like the page, support Carolyn, and that will be fantastic. And I am definitely a follower and supporter of you, Carolyn, so I will be watching you closely and supporting you in your missions.
Thank you, Aldwyn.
We can all do something to make a difference in that area. So anyone who's watching this, thank you so much for watching. And what are your thoughts about this? Have you got any feedback, comments for us? Please just pop it under this video wherever you are watching it online. We'd love to hear from you. And if you like what you've seen and you want to spread the love, then share the video and let your friends know too. You never know the ripple effect of putting your message out there. And I personally am very passionate about getting more good news stories out there. And Carolyn's is certainly a very good news story and something that we can all learn from today. So thanks again for joining us. I'm Aldwyn Altuney. Truth Xpose TV is what you have been watching. And stay tuned. We'll have some more exciting episodes coming up soon. Thanks, Carolyn. Bye for now.
Thanks. Oops. Thanks, Aldwyn. That's called excitement.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you. Bye. Bye.